Welcome back to Declutter Rhythm. Let me guess you clean all morning. The house finally looks decent. And by 5 p.m., it's chaos again. Dishes back in the sink, toys on the floor, someone tracked dirt across your freshly mopped hallway. You wonder why you even bothered. I used to feel that way almost every day. I'd spend hours wiping and folding and resetting and still go to bed feeling like I was losing the battle. And it wasn't because I was lazy or unorganized. I was just doing it in a way that didn't stick. I needed something that worked with my real life, not against it. That's what this video is about. I'm sharing 12 super simple habits that have helped my home stay tidy throughout the day, no more cleaning the same mess over and over, or ending the night exhausted from picking up. So these tips, they're the opposite. They're light, doable, and built for busy days when energy is low. And the very first one might just be the reason I stopped dreading floor time. Let's jump in. Let's start with something small that makes a surprisingly big impact: how heavy your furniture is. Most of us don't think about this until we're trying to clean. If you've ever skipped vacuuming under a chair or couch because moving it felt like a full workout, you're not alone. And here's the truth. It's not that we're lazy, it's that heavy furniture quietly creates resistance. You see a dust bunny under the sofa, but moving it feels like too much. So you leave it. You tell yourself you'll get to it later. But later keeps piling up. Corners of the home start getting ignored, not because we don't care, but because we're tired. The more effort it takes to clean around something, the more likely we are to avoid it. That was me for years, and it showed certain spots never really felt clean. I realized I wasn't failing at cleaning, I was just fighting my furniture. So I started switching to lighter pieces. I replaced our heavy entryway bench with a slim, open metal one I can lift with one hand. I swapped out our solid wood coffee table for one on wheels. And the result, I clean more often without even noticing. I can sweep or vacuum under everything in minutes, not hours. I don't need help. I don't dread it. And those ignored corners, they're finally dust-free. Light furniture makes your home easier to care for, and that ease adds up. When cleaning feels manageable, you actually do it. And that means your home stays clean longer without the constant start-over cycle. And tomorrow, I'm going even further. I'll show you 5 unexpected items I completely removed from our living room, and how that one choice made the whole space easier to live in. So stick around for that. Now let's move to a habit that keeps my floors clean every single day without me even being in the room. This one tip changed how I felt about cleaning, not just physically, but emotionally. If you're still vacuuming every inch of your home by hand day after day, I want to gently ask, why are you doing all the work alone? I used to think robot vacuums were for pristine homes with no real mess, not for a house with kids, crumbs, pet fur, and real-life chaos. But when I finally gave one a try, something clicked. It wasn't about perfection. It was about relief. Now mine runs every morning while I'm packing lunches or getting breakfast started. I don't have to think about it, it's just part of the rhythm. And sure, it's not flawless. It misses a corner now and then and occasionally gets stuck. But it handles the 80%, the everyday dirt that makes your home feel messy, even when everything's in place. And here's the real benefit. Because it runs daily, dirt never gets the chance to build up. I'm not walking around barefoot feeling grit under my heels. I'm not spending Saturdays deep cleaning because I let it all go. I do a proper vacuum maybe once or twice a week, but I'm not starting from zero. I'm just maintaining, and that's a huge shift. It also saves my energy for the things that need me: cleaning the bathroom, decluttering a drawer, helping with homework, or even sitting down with a cup of tea without feeling guilty. Clean floors without the daily grind, that's not laziness, that's strategy. It's one of the easiest ways I've made my home feel calmer every single day. Laundry has a sneaky way of making your home feel messier than it really is. A shirt here, a sock there, a half-full basket at the end of the hallway. And suddenly it feels like the whole house is out of order. For a long time, I handled laundry the same way I handled everything else, squeezing it into the cracks of my week. A load here, a fold there, always telling myself I'd catch up tomorrow. But the truth, I never really caught up. Instead, I was surrounded by clothes in limbo clean, but still in baskets folded, but left on the couch, or worse, forgotten in the washer. It created this low-level mental clutter that followed me from room to room. I felt like I was always behind, even when I was trying to stay ahead. So I shifted. I picked one day a week and made it laundry day. I didn't aim for perfection, just consistency. One day, one clear goal, wash, dry, fold, and put away. All of it start to finish. That small change brought big relief. I wasn't thinking about laundry every single day anymore. It wasn't hovering over my week like a cloud. I could move through Monday to Saturday knowing I had a system and that everything would get done without it taking over my life. Now I start in the morning sorting everything first. I run a load, then while the machine is going, I clean a counter or tidy a drawer, just something simple I can finish before the timer dings. By the end of the day, the laundry's done, the baskets are empty, and I'm not digging through piles to find a missing sock or a clean uniform. It's no longer a slow drip of stress. It's a task with a beginning, middle, and end, and that makes all the difference. If there's one place that can unravel your whole sense of calm, it's your kids' rooms. 1 minute it's tidy, the next it looks like a tornado hit, and I'm not exaggerating. For a long time, I thought the answer was better organization. I tried more bins, more shelves, more labels. I'd spend time lining up stuffed animals and sorting tiny plastic pieces into their own little boxes. But no matter how hard I worked, it never stayed that way. By the end of the day, the chaos was back: toys everywhere, clothes in piles, and someone crying because they can't find their favorite thing. That's when I realized the problem wasn't the organizing. It was the amount of stuff. Kids can't manage clutter any better than we can. In fact, they get overwhelmed even faster. So I shifted. I started simplifying their rooms, not just tidying, but truly cutting back. Fewer toys, fewer outfits, fewer random objects that had no clear home. I now rotate their toys, only keeping a small number out at any given time and putting the rest in a storage bin. Every couple of weeks, I swap some in and some out. It keeps things fresh for them without overwhelming their space. For clothes, I trimmed down what they have to just what they actually wear no more. Digging through drawers, overflowing with options. I also made the systems kid-proof. Easy bins they can reach, fewer categories, and clear places for everything. I stopped expecting perfection and made it possible for them to help without constant direction. And here's what changed their rooms: stay cleaner longer. They know where things go. Cleanup takes 5 minutes instead of 30. I'm not hovering at the doorway begging them to organize what they can't even process. And maybe best of all, they play more. With less in their space, their creativity actually showed up again. Simplifying their rooms gave us all back time, peace, and energy. And that's worth more than any fancy organizing system. One of the biggest reasons small messes turn into big ones: the tools you need aren't where you need them. I used to keep all my cleaning supplies scattered: a bottle of spray under one sink, a duster somewhere in a drawer, the vacuum shoved in the back of the hallway closet. So every time something spilled or got sticky, it became a whole production. I'd think I'll get to it later. And by the time I did, it wasn't just a mess anymore. It was a project. That's when I realized the longer it takes to start cleaning, the more likely I am to avoid it. So I made one simple change. I brought the tools closer. Now I have what I need exactly where I need it. A small cleaning caddy under the kitchen sink with a microfiber cloth and all-purpose spray. A second one in the bathroom with glass cleaner wipes and a little broom. Even a lightweight dustpan tucked behind the couch where crumbs tend to collect. Nothing fancy, just easy. And it works. Because when something happens, toothpaste splatters on the mirror, crumbs on the counter, water on the floor, I don't hesitate. I'm not walking around the house looking for the right cleaner. I just reach wipe, done. The mess doesn't sit, it doesn't grow, it doesn't wear on me. And here's the best part, because the tools are easy to grab, they're also easy to put away. No complicated storage system. Just one place within reach where things live. It turns cleaning from a chore into a 2-minute task I barely have to think about. Less friction means more follow-through, and that's what really keeps a home feeling calm. Sometimes the mess isn't on the floor, it's sitting right in front of you. Kitchen counters, coffee tables, nightstands, the dining table. The more stuff that's left out, the more chaotic your home feels. I used to let things pile up everywhere. A stack of papers here, random toys or unopened mail there. At first it didn't seem like much, but it added up visually and emotionally. Every surface became a landing zone, and soon it felt like no matter how much I cleaned, the clutter was always creeping back. That's when I started a new habit, keeping my surfaces as clear as possible. Not showroom empty, just intentionally edited. If something doesn't belong there, it goes. Right away. In the kitchen, that means gadgets go back in drawers after use, not left out just in case. The dining table stays clear, not a catch-all for homework keys or mail. And when I walk in the door, I drop my things in one small basket by the entryway, a home for the everyday items that used to float around with no place to land. And you know what? It changed everything. Clear surfaces make everything feel lighter. I can prep meals faster, cleanup takes less time. The kids know where things go. There's no need to shuffle piles around just to sit, cook, or work. But more than that, it gives my brain a break. A cluttered surface sends the message, you've still got work to do. A clear one says, you're okay, things are handled. That kind of mental shift makes a big difference, especially on hard or busy days. This isn't about being minimal, it's about being mindful. Clear surfaces help keep the clutter from spiraling, and that helps me stay calm, focused, and more in control of the day. Clutter doesn't always show up all at once. It spreads slowly from room to room. A toy left on the couch, a pair of shoes in the hallway, a stack of books on the counter. Before you know it, every surface feels like it's holding something that doesn't belong. That used to be our home daily. I was always chasing little messes from one room to the next, putting out fires instead of staying ahead of them. What finally helped, giving the clutter a home before it got out of hand. Enter baskets and bins, not as decoration, not as storage I'd forget about, but as visible designated homes for the things that tend to float around. Now in the living room, we have one big basket in the corner for toys. When playtime ends, everything goes there quick and simple. In the hallway, there's a basket for shoes. No more piles by the door. In the kids' rooms, each type of toy has its own bin blocks, dolls' art supplies. Everything has a place, and everyone knows where that place is. And here's the key, I label everything. Not fancy, just clear. That small step removes the decision-making. No more where does this go? It's obvious even for the kids. The beauty of baskets and bins is they don't require perfection. You don't have to fold, stack, or line things up. You just drop it in, and that's enough to keep the chaos contained. It's fast, it's visual, and it works. Now our home feels calmer, not because it's spotless, but because the clutter doesn't sprawl. It stays in its lane. And that shift from scattered to contained makes a huge difference in how I feel walking through the house. Evenings can get away from us fast. After dinner, after baths, after bedtime routines, the last thing most of us want to do is clean. But here's what I've found, spending just 10 intentional minutes tidying up at night makes everything feel lighter the next day. I used to leave things as they were, telling myself I'd deal with it in the morning. But mornings are already full, and waking up to yesterday's mess felt like starting the day in the red. The sink was full, the counters were sticky, toys were underfoot, and before I'd even had coffee, I felt behind. So I made a small shift. I set a timer for 10 minutes, that's it, and I do a simple reset before bed. Not a deep clean, just a light sweep of the basics: dishes into the dishwasher, toys into baskets, counters, wiped down papers put away or stacked neatly. For example, after the kids are down and I've had a moment to breathe, I clear the kitchen counters and tidy the living room. Sometimes I do it while listening to a podcast or calling a friend. Sometimes it's completely silent. But it's become a calming, grounding ritual, like setting the house to rest for the night. And the payoff huge. I wake up to a space that feels peaceful instead of chaotic. I can make breakfast without pushing yesterday's dishes aside. The living room feels fresh. The whole house starts the day with a sense of order. 10 minutes might not seem like much, but when it becomes a rhythm, a nightly exhale, it shifts how you move through the next day. It turns overwhelm into intention, and that's a habit worth keeping. For the longest time, I believed that decluttering had to be this massive all-day effort. I'd look around at the mess and tell myself, this weekend I'll do it all. But the weekend would come, and a few hours in, I'd be tired, irritated, and surrounded by even more chaos than when I started. It felt endless and honestly defeating. So I tried something different. Instead of attacking the whole house, I focused on just one small area at a time. Not a room, not even half a room. A single drawer, a shelf, one section of the countertop, something I could finish in about 20 minutes. I'd set a timer, turn on some music or a podcast, and get to work. And when the timer went off, I stopped, even if it wasn't perfect. That was a game changer. Because perfection wasn't the goal. Progress was. One afternoon, I tackled our kitchen junk drawer. It had become a black hole of receipts, dried out pins, dead batteries, and mystery cables. I sorted through it for 20 minutes, threw out what we didn't need, and grouped what we kept in small containers. It was a small project, but the impact was immediate. The drawer worked again. I could find things. And that gave me just enough momentum to want to tackle the next thing the following day. That's the beauty of this approach. Each small win builds confidence. I stopped dreading decluttering. I started trusting that I could create order a little at a time. And when life got busy, I didn't feel like I was falling behind because the work was broken into parts I could actually handle. One drawer at a time, one win at a time. That's how real, lasting change happens in a home that's lived in. Not showroom perfect, but functional and peaceful. One of the most frustrating parts of cleaning isn't the cleaning itself, it's hunting for what you need. The spray is in one cabinet, the cloths are in a drawer, the gloves are who knows where. By the time you've found everything, your motivation is already gone. That used to be me. I'd see a mess and think I should clean that. But if it meant running around the house collecting supplies, I'd put it off. And small messes have a way of turning into big ones when they're left for later. So I made it easier for myself. I set up a central go-to cleaning station, just one small basket in the laundry room with all the essentials, all-purpose cleaner, microfiber cloths, gloves, sponges, a few magic erasers, everything in one place, ready to grab, and the change was immediate. Suddenly, wiping down the counters didn't feel like a chore. I wasn't wasting 10 minutes gathering supplies I was already cleaning. The job felt smaller, more doable. It actually got done. I also created mini stations in the rooms that need frequent touch-ups. A small caddy in the bathroom with glass spray and toilet wipes, a cloth and cleaner tucked in a kitchen drawer. Nothing excessive. Just enough to make cleaning friction-free. It's not about owning more tools, it's about putting what you have where it helps you most. When everything's easy to grab, the job feels lighter. You clean more often with less resistance, and that's how your home stays under control without long, exhausting cleaning sessions. This small setup didn't just save me time, it saved my energy. And that, as any busy woman knows, is worth everything. Closets have a sneaky way of becoming the catch-all for everything. Out-of-season jackets, impulse buys that never quite fit sentimental pieces. You're not ready to part with it all, ends up shoved onto hangers or crammed into corners. And before you know it, getting dressed in the morning feels less like self-care and more like digging through clutter. That was my reality for years. Clothes spilling over, shoes lost under piles, hangers tangled with things I hadn't worn in ages. Every morning felt frustrating, not because I didn't have clothes, but because I had too many things I didn't actually wear. So I started a new habit. I declutter my closet once a month. Just a quick check-in, not a full overhaul. I'll take 20 minutes, look through my clothes, and ask one simple question. Do I actually wear this? If the answer is no, it goes. I donate anything that no longer fits, doesn't feel like me, or just hasn't been touched in months. The goal isn't to get rid of everything, it's to make space for the things I truly reach for and feel good in. I also organize by season. Heavy sweaters and winter coats go into storage bins once the weather warms up. Sandals and summer dresses rotate out when fall comes. Keeping only what's in season front and center makes choosing an outfit faster and less overwhelming. And here's what's really changed. I enjoy getting dressed again. My closet feels like it reflects my real life, not my past, not my wish list, but what I actually wear now. Everything's visible, easy to grab and easy to put back. There's no digging, no guessing. This habit has also curbed my shopping. When my closet is clear, I can actually see what I have, and I'm less tempted to buy more just to fill a space. It feels good to open the door and not be met with chaos. One small monthly reset, one calmer start to the day. Let's be honest, almost every home has one. The infamous junk drawer. It's where the random things go when they don't have a proper home: spare keys, loose batteries, rubber bands, mystery cords. But without a little structure, that drawer quickly turns into a black hole. Things go in but never come out. Mine used to be that drawer. A cluttered mess of pins that didn't work, old receipts, dried up glue sticks, and more than a few unidentifiable parts to who knows what. It was frustrating every time I opened it, and yet I kept shoving more in. So I decided to stop letting it spiral. Now I spend just 10 minutes once a week giving it a quick reset. I toss out what's useless, wipe out the crumbs. Yes, somehow crumbs always appear and reorganize what's left using small dividers or containers. Everything has a zone, batteries in one section, pins in another, scissors, tape, paper clips, all separated, all easy to grab. And that's the difference. It's no longer a drawer of junk. It's a drawer of useful things, the ones I reach for regularly but don't necessarily need sitting out on the counter. The secret isn't perfection, it's consistency. A few minutes every week keeps the clutter from creeping back in. And that small effort makes a surprising impact, not just in the drawer, but in the rest of the home. Because when one space feels in control, it ripples out. It reminds you that mess doesn't have to win. That little drawer, it's now one of the most functional spots in my kitchen. And instead of avoiding it, I actually rely on it. So there you have it, 12 simple habits that have made a world of difference in keeping my home organized and stress-free. None of these tips are about perfection, but about making small, manageable changes that add up over time. When you focus on one step at a time, everything feels lighter. And you can actually enjoy the process of maintaining your space instead of feeling like you're constantly behind. If you're ready to tackle your own home, start with 1 or 2 tips that resonate the most and work them into your routine. And remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, which tip will you try first? Or do you have a favorite habit of your own that keeps your home feeling organized? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.